Hey everybody, so this week decided to upgrade to the Mavic 2 Pro from the Mavic Air. So it's just arrived about 15 minutes ago, so I thought I'd do an unboxing to see what the out-of-box experience is with the Mavic 2 Pro, what's included and what it's all about. So let's get into it. So very nice packaging. DJI's packaging is kind of reminiscent of Apple's, like really high quality. It's a really nice kind of experience to receive this. With the Mavic Air, it seemed a little bit more kind of budget, but this is definitely kind of top quality, so I'm expecting big things from this. So there's a sleeve that comes off and we're left with a box. Just a nice black box and oh, there we go. So lifting up the flap, we've got the drone itself, we've got the controller, we've got a couple of boxes, and we've got the charger as well. So let's start with the accessories, get that out of the way. So we have a mains charger which has a single battery charger on it. This is also used to connect to the multi-battery hub if you have that with the Flymore kit. I don't yet. And it also has a USB port, so that's really handy for charging battery and controller at the same time. I have AC cable, we don't need to see that. And in here, oh, I think this is the propellers in here. So this is the first time I've had a drone with the folding style propellers. These Mavic 2 propellers are quite sizable, so it'll be really interesting to see how this affects like the flight performance, how it affects the noise as well. Because one of the issues that I have with the Mavic Air is it's very loud. Now, because in flight the Mavic Air sounds like an angry swarm of bees, and it's not the most kind of pleasant thing. It's quite unnerving. If you're out in the countryside somewhere and there's someone walking and there's a Mavic Air around, you can really tell. So these are supposed to be lower noise propellers, and they are quite a bit bigger. I'll show you a comparison in a minute to a Mavic Air one. Next out the box is the controller. Now, well, that feels really substantial. I've got the Mavic Air one here to compare it to. So here are the two controllers side by side. So they essentially look like they're almost made in the same mold. They're pretty much exactly the same size. However, the Mavic Pro controller has an LCD screen in the middle here, and the Mavic Air one is just kind of black plastic, and it has a S mode and P mode switch, whereas the switch on the Mavic Pro is on the side. So we have an extra mode on here which is T mode, which is tripod mode, which I'm really excited to try out for photography. In terms of feel, the Mavic Pro controller is a little bit heavier. It feels a little bit more substantial, and the rubber material on the hand grips is a lot more kind of comfy, and it's a lot more grippy as well. So that's a really nice kind of touch. Right, the next out is a box of cables and accessories. So in here we have warranty card, disclaimer, and a what's in the box. So we know what's in the box, it's coming out now. We have a USB to USB-C cable, which is for doing updates, and I think you can download from the internal memory as well using that. We have a number of cables. We have the iPhone Lightning cable, we have a micro USB, and I think we've got a USB-C in there as well. So lots of connector options for connecting to a controller. We've also got, what's that? Oh, we've also got a spare set of control sticks, which is something I didn't get with the Mavic Air. I don't know if you're supposed to, but that's handy. I've never managed to lose one yet, but yeah, like replacements like the Polar Pro ones are quite expensive. So yeah, to have those like in the original box in the loft, just in case, really handy. And yeah, there's a micro USB to a USB-C adapter. So if you want to use that as a micro USB, I guess, I don't know. I just have an iPhone which I use as my drone controller, so yeah, everything else probably isn't going to get used, but it's nice to have the options and it's nice to have a comprehensive set of accessories included in the box. So anybody, if you've got an Android phone, if you've got an iPhone, if you're using an iPad, you can just get ready kind of straight out the box, no problems at all. Right, on to the main event. This is quite substantially bigger than the Mavic Air that I'm used to. Now, yeah, this is the Mavic 2 Pro. The Mavic 2 comes in two varieties, the zoom version and the Pro version. The zoom, you'd guess by the name, has a zoom lens, and the Pro version has a higher resolution Hasselblad camera, which is the version that I've gone for because it has better video options as well. Now, I'll show you the folded, let me get rid of the box. And I'll show you this folded up versus the Mavic Air, because I've never seen a Mavic 2 in person and I wasn't sure how much bigger it was going to be than the Air, but that's pretty plain to see that it is quite substantially bigger in every dimension. Now, yeah, that is actually quite a bit bigger than I thought. The Mavic Air is obviously a really small, travel-friendly drone. I've been shooting with it for about a year. It's been on several travels with us. It's been absolutely fantastic. You can chuck it in a little shoulder bag with the controller and you're ready to go, and it's been great. However, some of the advantages of the Mavic Pro, now I am PFCO licensed and I need to be kind of making money from my UAV antics. This has got some big advantages that the Mavic Air doesn't. Like, it has OcuSync 2 with the controller, so you can essentially control it from further away with higher quality feed. Sometimes if I'm out in somewhere mountainy, the Mavic Air drops signal quite quickly, whereas this should kind of alleviate all those problems. The battery life is quite a lot better on the Mavic 2 Pro, so I can stay in the air longer, I can get more shots without having to come down to land, because I get about 15 minutes of battery time on the Mavic Air. This promises 31, we'll see. Anything above 25 I'll be happy with. And things like the tripod mode, like, quite considerable advantage. This can blow around in the wind quite easily, whereas tripod mode on the Mavic 2 is supposed to be awesome and super stable, and I'm really looking forward to shooting with that. The biggest advantage for video with the Mavic 2 is the inclusion of 10-bit footage and a proper log profile. And that's going to make a big difference, I think. The footage that comes out of the Mavic Air is fantastic, but to have that extra flexibility in post to be able to get the colours back from like log footage, especially 10-bit, if your exposure's off very slightly, it doesn't really matter as much because you're kind of 10-bit is closer to RAW than 8-bit. So yeah, I'd rather have that latitude. So for shooting things like sunsets and things with loads of dynamic range, this is going to be amazing because it's going to let me bring the colours out to their maximum potential in post-production and match the A7 III footage a bit better. So yeah, let's unfold and see how big this thing is unfolded. So, oh yeah, so the front arms come forwards and the rear arms unfold out the back like that. So wow, that is quite sizable. And the motors are quite a bit bigger as well. The Mavic Air just folds out, and these are fixed propellers, so you can see there the size difference between the Mavic Air and the Mavic 2 Pro. This is also about twice the weight. This is about 460 grams, I think they say this is 907. So yeah, quite a bit bigger. And I said I'd show you the propellers compared. This is a Mavic 2 propeller. This is a Mavic Air propeller. So that's about just under double the length. It's about 3 times wider. This is going to give some serious lift. Like I said, these are folding propellers, so when it's in transit, the propellers are actually smaller than the Mavic Air ones, but the Mavic Air ones just stay like that. Other differences that I'm not really used to, on the Mavic Air, the batteries attach in the bottom here, whereas on the Pro they attach on the top. So yeah, the batteries are quite substantial, and I'm always kind of paranoid with the Mavic Air that if I don't clip the battery in perfectly, because it's got these two little clips that go on the side, that because it's a single point of failure and there's like, if one of the clips fails, the battery's just going to fall out of it and it's going to plummet to the earth and big disaster. Whereas with this, with the top loading battery, I don't know, I feel a little more safe, unless there's like some real disaster, both the clips come off and the drone inverts itself. I mean, there's no coming back from that anyway, but I think that's going to give me a little more peace of mind with my kind of redundancy paranoia than anything else. Another thing I noticed looking around the Mavic 2 Pro, and I know I've read the specs to death before I've kind of made this big purchase to get this upgrade, there are a lot more sensors all over it. I can see 2 sensors here, plus the rear sensor, plus a rear sensor on the bottom, plus the 2 sensors here. The bottom, we have the infrared sensor, we have the landing lights, we have sensor here, sensors all over the place. The obstacle avoidance technology in this thing is like supposed to be quite remarkable, and I can't wait to get using it. So as with all the DJI propellers, they are made to go in one direction only. So there's black ones and there's ones with a white little stripe on, which I haven't seen those yet. Oh yeah, it's a little silver circle, it's not a stripe. So all you do is you get the prop and you twist it in and it's locked in, and that's it. I don't know if you get a spare set of propellers as standard, but I seem to have an extra one of each, a silver circle one and a plain one in the box, so that's excellent. I'll keep those in the original box with all the other spares. So now the propeller's on, we can really see the size difference between the Air and the Pro, and that is quite a big difference. That's a bigger difference than I expected, to be honest. That is, yeah, quite sizable. I can't wait to get this thing in the air, but I've heard from a couple of other reviews that the Air, whereas you can do like fly through windows, fly through doorways pretty easily, which I've done myself, the Pro kind of struggles just because of the width, and you've got to be really, really precise when doing it. And I see that because that's maybe like almost 2 foot across. Standard doorways, what, 3 foot, 2.5, 3 foot. So yeah, I would be really hesitant doing kind of mega precision flying that I do with that on this. So it's a reason I might kind of keep both or upgrade this to a Mavic Mini just to stay kind of current range. So last thing, let's talk about the gimbal and the camera. So the gimbal lock on here is like this big kind of fish tank spaceman helmet thing, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it just clips off here, and then it lifts off the top, so there's like a flap thing on there going on. Now the camera is pretty big, look at that. I mean, I always told my wife, like, I'm going to buy a Hasselblad camera, like, it's gonna happen. I didn't think it'd be on a drone, so there we go, living the dream. In comparison, the Mavic Air gimbal lock just slides off, and wow, you can see the size difference between the front element and the whole gimbal assembly. If I just try and kind of hold that up there, that's quite a remarkable difference. So, you know, bigger isn't always better, but to see such kind of a high quality unit, it feels fantastic. I'm really quite impressed with that. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the outer box experience with the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. So I can't wait to get this charged, make sure the firmware is updated, make sure the battery is good to go, get everything ready, read the manual to see if anything's different compared to the Air, and do a couple of initial flights to get my bearings with it and see what this thing can do. It's been really windy for the past couple of weeks here, so I'm glad I'm able to get out now in the next couple of weeks, really put this thing through its paces. I've got a commercial UAV job coming up at the end of March, which I really wanted to get this for. So I'm glad I've got it in good time, so I can get practicing, so I can get all the picture profiles sorted, so I can practice grading the footage, so I know kind of what I'm going to get out to it while I'm shooting. And I'll be back with an update, some sample footage, and my thoughts once I get it in the air and how it compares to the DJI Mavic Air as soon as I can. So thanks for watching. Hope you liked this unboxing and little run through the DJI Mavic 2 Pro, and I'll see you next time. See you guys.